We are so pleased to welcome you to the 2025 International Conference on the Prevention of Youth Homelessness. Yeah, let's clap, let's go. This conference is presented by Away Home Canada and the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness as a culmination of Making the Shift Networks of Excellence grants. Yes, researchers love a descriptive title. And I think this is because we in the community of youth homelessness know that details matter when we advocate and wrap around young people impacted by housing instability, poverty, the child welfare system, and historic oppressive policies. We know that details matter because we in this room always have to come to the table armed with qualitative stories and quantitative figures to combat the stigma of youth homelessness as we continue the fight to recognize a right to housing in Canada. This conference is an opportunity to meet and learn from people all over the world, from places as far away as New Zealand, from our neighbors in the US and our friends in Europe and the UK, and of course, our sister provinces and territories in Canada. It's a chance for us to build new partnerships, network, and even restore a little bit of hope that there are still people who care about solving this solvable issue, so much so that they've dedicated their lives to this work. Up to the podium first are folks who are like living legends in the youth homelessness prevention space. Their names have been synonymous with this work over the past decade. And last night I was pestering them to tell me just how long they've been doing this work. And guess what? They didn't tell me. Someone else did. Someone else popped into the conversation and said, since 1993. There are people in this room who weren't even born in 1993. So the first superstars I'd like to call to the stage are Melanie Redman and Stephen Gaetz. Melanie Redman is the co-founder, president, and CEO of Away Home Canada, lead of the National Learning Community on Youth Homelessness in Canada, and the co-founder of Making the Shift. Stephen Gaetz is the president of the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness, the largest national research institute devoted to homelessness in Canada, and the Homeless Hub, a web-based research library supporting knowledge mobilization in our space. Together, they have over 40 years of experience. And for the next 3 days, we'll be celebrating, in particular, the research that Making the Shift has advanced. So without further ado, let's welcome them to the stage.
As Marty said, welcome to tropical Toronto. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you for traveling far and wide to be with us for this important mission. I have to do some thank yous and then hand it over to Steve for some more inspirational talk. Marty, thank you so much for being our MC. You've been fantastic to work with in this project. I want to thank and welcome our elders and our helpers. Our lived experts, thank you so much for being here and bringing all of your knowledge to bear. The researchers and the service providers who helped create the knowledge that we're mobilizing here. The international guests that have come to bring their knowledge to share, and hopefully we can build relationships that will last and come to amazing fruition. I want to thank the boards and committees of Away Home, Making the Shift, and I want to thank York University for being an amazing support and host for our networks of Centers of Excellence. The staff, oh my God, amazing. All of the people we've contracted with to make this event happen, thank you so much for being amazing. I want to thank our sponsors, all of you. Thank you for coming to the table and believing in this event, and in particular, the Home Depot Canada Foundation, who's our title sponsor. And I want to thank Minister Marcy Ian, for making the time to join us today. Thank you so much for being here. Steve?
That's it. Okay, thank you and welcome. You're going to hear the word welcome a lot today. But when I look around this room, actually, you look around the room, turn around and see who's behind you. Mark, don't you bother because you'll just see a door. But, you know, this is very exciting to see it's almost 600 people come to a conference like this. You know, 5 years ago, it would have been, I say, more like 60 people. But we're here present to participate in something very important, which is figuring out how we're going to manage the shift to the prevention of homelessness as part of our strategy. And the sessions are going to be amazing today and tomorrow and the next day. The opportunities to network are going to be amazing. The chance to learn is going to be something. And so my wish for all of you is that when you go back home, wherever that may be, if you've been inspired by something here, if you've learned something new about prevention, if it's changed the way you think about how we should respectfully address the needs of people who fall into homelessness, do something. Connect with other people. Talk to your politicians. Figure out how you can implement things. You'll meet people here who will help you on all of those things, but that's how we're going to lead to the transformation of this. The older I get, and I am getting older, no comments, the more it just seems outrageous and ridiculous that we allow young people to be mired in homelessness for any length of time at all. We can do so much better, and we will. And we're going to learn a lot about that. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to continue now with the land acknowledgement. We're doing the land acknowledgement here, which means we're not going to be doing it at every session, right? So I want to do the land acknowledgement for Toronto, and then I have a few comments. So we acknowledge our presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. The area known as Toronto has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat. It's now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities, and we acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation. This territory is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. And I want to offer a few comments about the land acknowledgement. In doing this work, one of the pleasures and paradigm-shifting things for me has been our engagement with Indigenous partners. In putting together, making the shift, people like Clay, Suzanne were there right from the beginning. And it wasn't just to teach us about Indigenous homelessness and why it matters. It was to share knowledge and learnings, Indigenous ways of knowing that have changed the way I not just think about homelessness, but the way I think about life. It's very powerful. The sharing and the learning goes on. Last night we had a pipe ceremony that was wonderful and heard from the elders. It's just amazing. So I just want to say that with the acknowledgement, my appreciation to all of our Indigenous partners. And with that, I'm going to invite Clay Shirt, one of my favorite people in the world, to come up and...
Alongside Michael, who will be bringing his beautiful voice.
Right. Okay, thank you.